Welcome back to the Attract Clients Now podcast. I'm your host, Monica. Glad to have you back again. Today, we're going to talk about offer launches and offer burnout. So, if you haven't caught the last couple of episodes, we keep them super short, but you're going to want to catch up a little bit. However, if you're about to enter into an offer launch, this might be the episode you need to listen to first. So, stay tuned in and let's get started. Last week, we talked about the offer sandbox and playing with our offer in a light way, in a testing way, in a way just to see if it works. So, we're going to assume that you've gone through that in a week. That's not true. And you're ready to launch this offer. So, you've already played with it, you've already done sales calls on it. Perhaps you've even pre sold, like, this is the thing, right? Like, this is what you're launching next. So we're going to talk about more energetically about offer launches and the burnout that can sometimes happen today, not specifically about offer launches. If you want to learn a little bit more about offer launches and the cycles of it, we do have a free skills quest episode. These are, again, really short videos that are in the Attract Clients Now Facebook group. You're welcome to go watch that. We'll be sure to link it in the show notes for you. What do we mean by launch? I think this term gets tossed around a whole lot and it can feel really intimidating, particularly for us non businessy marketing people. Many of my clients are spiritual entrepreneurs, and when they hear the word launch, they go hide under a rock for a week or two. So I'm trying to almost bring this back to normalcy to say it doesn't have to be this big major thing. With our business, we want to have fun. We want it to feel good, right? Otherwise, we'd go get us a job. So when we're talking about offer launches, a launch of an offer is just whatever you decide to do in order to sell that offer. One thing that in marketing we find helpful is what we would call a launch, which is just a specific period of time that you've chosen, your choice, to talk about it, right? This might be 2 weeks, this may be 3 weeks, it may be 6 weeks, but really you wanna have a dedicated portion of time where you can really share the love on this. For me, I could probably write 50 pieces of content on any one offer because I got ideas and I got things I wanna share. So one post is likely not gonna sell one offer. In addition to that, offer posts, like if we're talking about social, those don't do all that well. They don't get super great reach. So our offer launch needs to be a combination of telling stories, engaging with people, reaching out to past clients. It's a period of time that we choose and a promotional sequence that we choose to sell our offer. This could look like a series of emails. It could look like you just sending out emails and DMs to people or going to a networking event or a couple of them and drum up some business. It could look like social media post coupled with some lives, coupled with some outreach and some ways to communicate with people. It could look like a free workshop, a paid workshop. It could look like a boot camp. It could look like a lot of different ways that you are drumming up interest in something that you have. Here's what I don't love. I don't love when I don't hear from somebody for 6 months and then all of a sudden I get like 50 emails that they're launching something. While consistency is not going to keep you in sales, just launching 4 times a year is also not gonna keep you in business. So, consistency mixed with a launch is really helpful. There is no right, there is no wrong. What we're talking about today is just recognizing that when you go into a launch sequence, into a promotional time period in your business, today we're bringing attention to the energy that takes, the emotional toll it can take, and how to stay energized, how to stay passionate, and how to avoid burnout. As an attraction marketer, I don't talk a lot about burnout and things we don't want. Yet I feel like this is a big elephant in the room because I see my clients go through launches, and even though I told them, "Hey, at the end of this, you're gonna be tired. You're gonna need a massage and a spa day," at the end, they're disappointed in themselves because they're tired. So I just wanna normalize this for us. And first off, say you don't have to launch. There's nothing that you have to do in your business except for do sales. Like you have to sell things in order to be in business. Most of us find some sort of launch helpful because it allows us to energetically focus on one thing for a period of time. I don't know if you're like me, but I'm like, ooh, squirrel. Ooh, let's go work on this. Let's go talk about this. And I'm known for having a lot of offers at any one time. In fact, Rena, my support coach, goes, "Now, what are you offering again?" So I know when she asked me that I am talking about too many things at once. So an offer allows us to come up with one plan focused on one topic and follow that through to having the cart open and the cart closed, or have some bonuses if you're going to roll into an evergreen. This can be really helpful because if you have some sort of group offer, it's nice to have a bucket of people start at the same time, right? That's really helpful. If you have a one on one offer that's new, it can be nice for you to talk about it over a period of time. Even if you don't want 10 people to sign up in it, just allowing your own mind and emotions to really focus on creating content and speaking to your ideal customer about that one offer can get you some momentum. And once you've sold something a couple of times, it really can go more on autopilot because you've answered the questions, you've overcome the objections, you've gone through the offers. So these new offers, it is nice to create some sort of launch cycle that feels really good to you. And that's key. So, what about launches is so challenging? And what is this burnout thing that we're talking about? If you're listening in, you've probably experienced offer launches, or if you're just getting started, maybe you're like, I have no idea what she's talking about. So, you may want to go into the group and do some stuff. And that's cool to listen to the old skills quest. Is during a launch cycle, we typically do about 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks. And so we'll create all of our content for 2 weeks with a heavier push on content the last 3 or 4 days. So let's say we've come up with social posts and some live stuff, and we've got emails going out and we've got all these things. And let's say, God willing, we've been super prepared and 3 weeks out, we have all of our content done. What happens to me energetically, and it's different for everyone, it's when I launch and I get that first email going, I'm so excited. I want to talk to everybody. Like, I just like, I'm just in that zone. I'm in that zone and I'm just so excited. What I find typically happens is that first week, you're really not getting a lot of quote unquote action. You're likely not getting a lot of sales or signups unless you've got some reason for them to sign up or buy super early. So, early bird bonuses, pre sales, these are really nice here. Again, we're not getting into launch, but what I want to point out about this period is that a week in, it's what typically happens is we're like, it's not working. We wrote all this stuff, our events in 7 days, and we have 5 signups or no signups or half the signups that we want, and we get frustrated and we get down and we get pooped in our energy and we wanna give up. What I wanna say to you today is that as you're planning this launch and you're planning your own energy, at that 7 day, be sure that you're replenishing yourself. Maybe you have a massage or a spa day or a float. Maybe it's just some extra meditation and revitalize your own energy at that weekend mark or at the week to go mark. Maybe this means that you have a great call with your business bestie or you talk to your favorite client who's already in. Find a way to, whew, all right, we're ready to go towards the finish, right? It's a cycle, it's an up and down cycle. As you go into those last 3 or 4 days, it's really important that your energy and excitement and enthusiastic is the highest it's been the entire time. And if you've been posting stuff for 2 weeks, you are sick of talking about it already. So just expect at that 3 or 4 days to go, You are sick of talking about it. You feel like at this point, you have told everybody and their mama about this offer. You've been in the DMs, you've been on lives, you've done all the things, and you're ready just to be done with it. You're just like, I've never had my own child. My friends that have had babies at like 9 months and the baby hadn't come out, they're like, I know that being a mom's going to be hard too, but I'm ready for this baby to come out. So I think about offers in that way too. We're just ready for the baby to be birthed. Practice focusing on that time and what do you need to stay centered, to stay grounded, and know that everybody and their mama hasn't seen your offer yet. You got to remind them again. It's not bugging them. It's just they literally haven't seen it. I know it's hard to believe. It's being patient with yourself. It's being detached from the results of that offer, which you probably need a whole class on. This is something that's really challenging. And so once we've created this offer in the play box and it's fun, and then we're creating this launch, and then we're 3 or 4 days to go, we really have to get back into the sandbox and we got to play again. We've got to create that energy, that momentum of sales. So I'm just letting you know to expect that 3 or 4 day, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this anymore. And then when you're going into game day, when you're going into launch day, if you have a workshop or an event that you're going to be talking about this offer or a live or an FAQ or whatever it is, know that you've done what you're supposed to do. You've shown up energetically, you've shown up passionately for yourself, and you are doing a really great job. Then you get through launch, you close cart. What happened? And I'm just telling you right now, most people at this point feel like they have fallen off a cliff, or maybe they're in free fall off a cliff. Typically, there is a lot of energy drop at this point because you've been building, building, and at that 3 or 4 day point, you've had to, and then you delivered and you really released that energy. So just expect, no matter what the results are the day after your launch closes, that you're going to feel like, oh my gosh. So now that you're planning 2 or 3, 4 or 5 weeks in advance, how can you go ahead and plan the day after or 2 days after your launch? Your spa day, your float day, your business bestie day, whatever it is, your hike, your camping trip, get out of town, whatever you need to do. Perhaps you even have an open cart after an event. And man, that is a tough week. So just know if you're going to do that's a tough week. Like do that on a week that you're like, all right, I'm good. For me as a woman, I don't do an open cart week on my cycle week because I'm tired, right? I plan it according to my cycle. I know that's weird, but it works for me, and I'm aware of those energy cycles. And so offer burnout comes when A, we're sick of talking about it. We're sick of our launch. And if you've been selling the same offer for a while, it's really easy just to get bored of it and burn out on it. So how can you keep that feeling of sandbox play while also being consistent, while not wanting to burn something down every 60 days, which I don't know about you, but as a manifesting generator, we tend to just want to burn everything down and start over again. This offer burnout and this launch burnout, you can see how easily it can come when you can look at the cycle through somebody else's eyes. So if you decide to do a launch for your offer, how can you decide what's going to work for you energetically? What's going to work for your clients energetically? How are you going to recuperate? How are you going to do that final push? Or how are you going to say, forget it? This is not how I want to launch my business. How can I find another way? Who or how can I do this in a way that feels more energetically aligned to me? Because I think there's a balance between doing things that we're uncomfortable with, but that we want to be comfortable with, and doing things that are out of alignment. I'm never going to tell my client, you must do this. However, if you've got an offer and you never have a push to sell it, or if you never spend time selling, communicating with people about your offer, this doesn't mean cold DMs. This doesn't mean like offer bombing people. If you don't do that, you're probably not going to get sales. So in your business, if you're not comfortable getting sales, then you need to work on the sales side of things, because we can attract clients, but we also need them to understand. So sales to me is, if marketing is about my connection to myself, sales is about my connection to you and how you understand how I can help you, right? It's just a two-way street. So let's not get all wrapped around, oh, we're going to be doing creepy sales because I don't do creepy sales. Most of my sales calls are us just talking through the details. It's not anything super weird. So I'm going to leave you today with just that feeling of that energetics that you're going to have during an offer launch cycle to be sure that if you've pre-sold and tested it, that as you go into the launch cycle that you know energetically what's going to happen during those places and how important really that pre-sale and test are, because if you go into that offer and you already have some sold, it feels so good. So be aware of those phases in your launch. I would love to know in the group, in the Attract Clients Now group, what are your launch phases? How do you feel during different launch cycles? So, if you haven't checked it out yet, we're going to be having our Sandbox Offer Engineering workshop on April 25th. It's 47 bucks. If you missed us late, you can catch the replay. We're going to break it down into a mini course. It's going to be $97 on replay. We'll drop the link for you here. And this is me showing you step by step how I take my clients' fuzzy ideas and turn them into sellable offers. This is really my genius. I love it when you come to me with, I have an idea. That's really what I love to do. And so helping you now to take that from idea, sandbox, and launch really allows you to move forward and actually create a profitable, sustainable business, which is what we're going for, right? So let me know your questions. Please drop a review. We've been on for a while now. Would love to get some feedback on how you are enjoying the podcast, how we can improve it. Go shine your light out there. It's easier than you think.